Hi guys, my name is Briea.
I'm Chisa.
Welcome back to episode 2 of Behind the Broadcast. Last episode we were going over the origins of MTV and how it kind of came to be and everybody involved in it. Um, we went over VJs, we went over just kind of artists that were very influential at the time. We had a lay down of kind of what episode or what videos we were going to go over throughout the entire series, or especially of this first season. Um, Anything you want to add, Chisa?
No, I think you pretty much hit most of it. What you
Cool.
didn't hit yet is that this episode will be about the song and Video Killed the Radio Star, which we kind of touched on it in the first episode about its cultural impact and like how creepy it is in a modern day context when you start thinking about like AI and all that stuff.
Mm.
And just like how it aged well and like the iconicness of it.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
know, so in addition to the VJ book that I read, the kind of like head dudes in charge of MTV wrote a book as well that I started. It was cited as one of my sources when I was doing my research, and I started reading a snippet of it, and they said that nobody wanted to play it as the first video on MTV, but that he felt it was symbolic and that they really needed to. And I think in retrospect, that was a really good choice on their part because I can't think of anything more appropriate.
Yeah. Yeah. So in this episode, we're going to talk about Video Killed the Radio Star by the Buggles, not the Bugles. We're going to get it right because we probably triggered some people. Bugles.
For context about how I found out that the Buggles and not the Bugles, they originally named the Bugs because it was supposed to be like a nod to the Beatles, but then some rude person was like, "You're never gonna be as big as the Beatles." So then they changed their name. He's like, "Okay, fine." And so they
Uh,
changed it to Buggles. And Horn, the like Trevor Horn, the main person in the Buggles, says he regrets purposely picking the most disgusting name possible in retrospect because back in those days he was like never really concerned about like packaging or like selling himself, and he was just like concerned about the music. So like he admits that it was like a disgusting name choice, and like I mean it's iconic in the sense that like you're like the Buggles, like what even is that? Is that even how you say it? You know what I mean? Like it drew attention, so I think it was a good call, but
yeah.
yeah, there's probably better they would have chosen if they thought it through.
Yeah. No, I mean, like, that's great. That's really creative.
All right, got you. So, the Buggles. They are an English new wave band formed in London in 1977. The original founding members are Trevor Horn, the dude with the goggles in the video, and Jeff Downs, who I'm assuming is like the blonde guy playing the piano or something. Trevor Horn and Jeff Downs. Trevor Horn was a bass player who went on to become the lead singer of Yes, and he also went on to produce other acts such as Frankie Goes to Hollywood, Grace Jones, Paul McCartney, Rod Stewart, Barry Manilow, The Pretenders, Tina Turner, Seal, Cher, Leanne Rimes. Oh, and my favorite, all the things she said, all the things she said, running through my head, running through my head. Which, if I'm lucky, we will talk about in like season 2 of the 90s slash early 2000s ones. I don't remember what year that was, but I love that song. And I
I
can't
can't,
believe he produced
I low key can't, even though it's not MTV, I can't wait to go off about Megan Fox.
it. Me always. I love her.
I love her so much. She's like the girl crush for like,
The early days, like especially in like Confessions of a Teenage Drama Queen, like that movie, I'm like, I wanted to be her. Like
I
she's just
wanted to be, I wanted to be her in Jennifer's Body. I love that movie so much.
that's a good one too.
It's
Yeah,
so
she's
messed
just
up, but
gold.
it's so good.
I actually never watched Jennifer's Body till like 1 or 2 years ago because I just don't like scary movies and I'm really bad at getting scared, so I just never
It's not
watched it.
that
But the
scary.
soundtrack went off. Definitely listened to
Mm,
that back in the day in a time period, but on my like little all-time low phase.
yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Those are the
Um,
days. Okay, I
okay.
think I'm halfway through the founding members, so let me get back before I go off about my emo days, because
Yeah.
So, Jeff Downs, he's a keyboard player who, after forming the Buggles with Trevor, went on also to play with Yes, and then he became a member of the group Asia. He's in the Guinness Book of World Records for performing with the most number of keyboards on stage in a single performance, which is a lot. It's 28. I would hate to be their roadie. Like, imagine having to set 28 keyboards up. Like, it's bad enough setting up one. Like, you want, like, there's so many cables. No, thank you.
No.
But I'm sure the roadie was paid nicely and that the roadie had no complaints and loved every second of it,
Hmm.
of hauling all 28 keyboards on stage.
Can you imagine setting up like like those circular drums?
Mm-hmm.
The ones that go in like that episode of the Super Bowl episode of SpongeBob where Patrick he goes doom doom and like oh my god and the keyboard that goes in the circular.
Oh, that's so sick. I think Lady Gaga had one on like the Art Pop tour or something. I want one so bad. They're so
So do I.
sick. I don't even know how you build them. I don't know. That's just crazy.
Okay. So the Buggles were actually originally named the Bugs as an ode to the Beatles, which I figured. After receiving criticism saying they'll, quote, never be as big as the Beatles, they changed their name to the Buggles, which was, wait, Beatles, Buggles. Oh, yeah. I mean, they could have been a little bit more creative with, I'm not going to even.
Right.
So Horn said he actually regrets purposefully picking the most disgusting name possible.
His words, not mine.
In his words. Yeah, no, I think that was I mean, Beatles, Buggles, you could give or take it. But I
It's
like,
not very original,
I
but
mean, I
it
like
is original.
Buggles because it's fun to say. Buggles,
Not the Bugles.
not the Bugles. That's another band. So that's like
That's
the
our next
ultimate.
project.
That's the Buggles finding out. Yeah, that's like it's like the alternate evil, like bugles,
Evil
like
Twin version.
they're bugle, like they're called the bugles, and all of them are like playing bugle horns. And then you have that one guy with the microphone, and he's just singing with all bugle horns in the background. That's actually pretty sick.
And then in this alternate universe, they're singing Radio Killed the Video Star instead.
Alternate universe, they're singing "Radio Killed the Video," or "Radio Killed." Wait, "Video Killed the Radio Star," and it's just instead of 80s synth, it's just bugle horn. It's like that's gonna be our intro. Dum dum dum.
Probably.
Yeah, doom
That's how it
doom
finishes.
doom, and then da da. So getting a little bit into the song, actually,
Huh. Tell it.
I was gonna
It's
say
good.
hella catchy. I mean,
It's
it's fun
catchy.
to sing. It's fun to sing because it's like, oh, oh,
It's bubblegum AF.
yeah,
Definitely.
bubblegum.
Earworms left and right.
Oh, oh. I just like it's screaming that.
What I found out is they were actually very intentional about the accents in which they were singing. So the dude sings in like a London accent, allegedly. Like he made sure he had his like Englishman accent, but he made the girls sing with like New York accents, which I don't know if that like translates in the song at all. I'm
Oh,
like, I don't know what's supposed
wow.
to be New York about that. I guess so. The ow.
The ow, ow. What
Ow,
you
ow.
doing? I'm
Me
walking
when I'm
here.
taking subway stairs for the 10th time in a day because I'm walking too much and my shoes are giving me blisters. I'm just like, ow, ow.
It's like ow,
Oh my
ow.
god.
Yeah. So again, a little bit even more about the song. But
Let's get into how they recorded it.
I didn't even know this. The things you find. Swear to God, this pop filter is gonna be the death of me. So ignore this. So you know what? Bye.
The time has come for you to go away.
I'm gonna tell you. So they actually recorded the demo about the song. They actually recorded the demos for their first album, including this one, on a tape recorder, which in his apartment, Geoff's apartment, Geoff, I said it right.
Jeff.
Geoff?
Jeff.
Did I say his name was
Jeff.
Geoff?
It's Jeff.
Jeff. I'm gonna kill myself in post. So Jeff, that's a funny way to spell it.
It's like French or something.
Geoff. Jeff. I'm trying to make sense of it.
The Bugles, then it was Geoff.
They're creative, so. So Jeff, in his apartment above a stonemason shop in Wimbledon before eventually recording them properly at a 16-track recording studio in North London. The funny stuff you can do on a tape recorder. I feel like both of us know singer-songwriter things.
I think I recorded my first songs on an iPad. Is that like the modern equivalent, you think, to like a track tape recorder?
Oh, it's okay. I recorded or started to record not from here on this little janky little microphone that I bought on
Well,
Amazon.
okay, to make you feel better about that, Lady Gaga recorded all of the first vocals for like Just Dance and all of those literally on her like her Apple laptop computer microphone, like not even like a proper mic. Like it's literally done in GarageBand just through the computer microphone, and then she
I,
sent that to Redwood. That's what's.
wait, really? You can't tell.
It just goes to show it's not about the recording equipment you use, it's about how talented you are. And
Facts.
that no amount of gear is gonna make you be good if you're not good.
Wise words from Chisa. It's funny because you said that. It's funny because when I began to record not from here, it was actually beginning to be recorded or was a little recorded in the top floor of my college dorm room.
Oh.
I had people coming up there. It was really embarrassing. I was screaming at the top of my lungs. Anyway, so Horn was able to get their foot in the door to be signed with SARM East Studios to release the album because of a new budding romance he had formed with his future wife, Jill Sinclair. I love how
Ooh,
you put in the notes a
spicy.
baddie of her own.
In her own right. Yeah, that's what, because she actually, said Batty, started SARM Studios, which was a chain of very successful recording studios in London that went on to record acts such as Queen, INXS, The Clash, and Madonna. My personal fave.
Wait, they did in excess?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, guys. So did you? I can't believe. I'm so glad you said that. Okay, I'm so glad you said that. I know I'm getting off topic here, but this is a little kind of like um research I did. So there's so and people are gonna say they're gonna hear this and be like, "You have to talk about her again." So um, in Dua Lipa's song "Break My Heart,"
I knew you were gonna mention her.
I in Dua Lipa's.
I knew
If
it.
anybody knows that I'm not an obsessive fan of Dua Lipa, I am. And I can't help
I
it
think
because
we all
she's so
are. It's
good.
okay.
What?
I think we all are. It's okay.
Okay, so guys, so in Dua Lipa's song "Break My Heart," the guitar riff that goes bum 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 bada 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 ba, bum bum bum, and then it goes
Oh, is
bum
that
bum
sampled
bum.
from?
Mm-hmm. That
Oh,
is
I didn't know
sampled
that.
from an In
I'm so
Excess
bad at
song
like place samples.
because I heard that
Wow.
because I listened to that song growing up.
Mm.
It's the three things that go bum bum bum, and
No,
then
no, 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 no.
but in the actual song, in the real In Excess song, it repeats, but in Dua's song it goes bum 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 bada 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 ba bum dum bum 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 bada bada
Oh,
bada ba bum which
oh,
which
that's a good one. Yeah.
which changes it. That poor girl had so many almost lawsuits on that Future Nostalgia album. That poor girl. That poor girl. Um,
Yeah. I
sorry, I
like
thought
that.
I was gonna add that in.
Little
Uh,
Dua Lipa trivia.
so getting back to talking about the Buggles and them in the studio. So Island Records had caught the wind of the song. Just to be clear, the video killed the radio star. Um, on the exact date, oh my god, on the exact day they were supposed to sign with SARM, and actually ended up offering them an even more lucrative deal, which they ended up taking instead. Executives at Island only heard it because of Jeff's girlfriend who worked at Island. Uh, did you say because every man behind every man is a good woman? Fact. Chisa put in the notes because every man is a good woman.
Behind every man.
Behind every good behind every man is a good woman.
Like, would you even have a record deal if your girlfriend didn't get you one? I'm just saying. Me at all men, ever. Just
Yeah.
kidding.
Yeah, literally.
I'm not trying to be so, what's the word I'm looking for? Misandrist on the podcast, but it slipped.
I love how I'm just taking over this and I said it was your baby.
No, it's okay. This is a team effort.
All right, all right. Do you want to take this next one?
Well, you should mention that the song eventually went on to become the label's first number one.
There you go. Just to be clear, I think it did help by broadcasting it on and the first broadcast the music video on MTV. I feel
Probably.
I think that I think
MTV kind of boosted everybody's like record sales during back then, so I would assume that being the first one definitely helped it gain like a good amount of notoriety and like longevity, maybe even in pop culture.
yeah, no, I think yeah, no, I think definitely that. Um, but speaking of women, the woman singing in the original, I'm just taking over.
Okay.
Do you want to take it or am I just? Do you want
No,
to take?
go.
Okay. So speaking of women, the woman in the original song is actually another one of Trevor Horn's love interests. Okay, we
Oh,
see. Did you
is
say
that how?
ho? Ho, ho.
No, I am just being really jolly.
It's
I
like
sneeze
like
in Christmas.
it's like I sneeze in
Ho ho
Christmas. It's like oh,
ho ho ho.
it's like ho. It's like ho. Yeah, Santa. He's with. Well, the thing is, like, I have a theory that Santa is saying ho 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 because on his night of travel, he tells Mrs. Claus that everything's fine, when in reality he's going to the clubs and then he's going and picking up women.
Drama.
Look, he can't be that mad. Look, he's magic.
So,
He's
like, you're telling me, like, Santa's getting other milk and cookies? He's getting milk and nookies? Is that what's going on?
yeah.
Okay. Just
They
checking.
they serve him. They definitely serve him like oh my god, what would they serve him in the club? They would definitely
The
serve him milk
reindeer
and cookies.
deluxe.
Yeah, they'd serve him like yeah, but like I really feel like they give him like a glass of warm milk, but then I really feel like they give him like a shot of bourbon on the side.
And then they put him in a sleigh and they, like, carry him around the club.
Wait, does it
It
count?
just sounds like Jingle Bells.
It's just
Oh
wait,
no.
does it count? Wait. So if so when Santa drives the sleigh drunk, does it count as a DUI?
You know, technically it's not him, it's the reindeer.
There was like wait. So like, but he's there like driving. The reindeer are just the wheels.
He needs to stay warm on that sled somehow. It's like December. It's cold. Like
I mean,
there's no windshield. The
does it
wind chill alone.
yeah, I mean, but like, does it count as DUI though?
So is Santa's favorite drink a White Russian?
I need to look up what favorite. Wait,
God, we're so off topic.
what is Santa? Hold on, Santa's. And it's very fitting that we're saying this now because Christmas is at the end of the month.
Oh,
Go.
God, no, I'm not going to be singing Christmas music. I'm not going to do it.
Did eggnog become Santa? No, I just want to see what alcohol does Santa drink. Sherry.
How
A shot of.
boring.
So it looks like it's clear that Santa is a big drinker. Yeah, no kidding. Every Christmas, he thick as hell. Every Christmas Eve, he jets around the world he does a shot of sherry in almost every house.
His turn. No
Oh
wonder
my
his wife's
God.
falling down the chimney.
That is binge drinking on a deathly scale, irresponsibly of the highest order. Yeah. What drink should I leave Santa? Cold milk, but like in a shot of shit. Hey, look,
If you leave him a shot, I'm sure he's thankful.
if I leave him a shot, I'll probably just drink it.
I feel like there was a commercial one year about Snoop Dogg leaving like cookies for Santa, if you know what I'm talking about.
Look, you
But I
took
feel
what
like
you get.
I would if Snoop offers you edibles, you don't say no.
Oh no. I mean, I'd just be on the back end of the sleigh. Just be like, hey, look, Santa, I'm only here for the free edibles.
Slay.
Yeah,
That'd be me.
sleigh. Just screaming
Just
sleigh.
hanging off the back going
Sleigh.
slay.
Just oh my god, I would that would be such a I'm just getting crunk with Santa. No wait, no wonder why he's falling down the chimney. He's drunk.
I mean, well, it's like probably like icy up there too, depending on where he's at. But and like
You gotta, I mean, hey, look, you gotta do what you gotta do.
whatever you gotta do to get the job done.
You gotta do what you gotta do, man.
Today's episode of BTB is sponsored by M Media. Are you looking for a graphic designer, videographer, video editor, or content creation manager to get those nagging projects off your back? Have you been searching for a media company that gets projects completed efficiently and quickly on such a short notice? Are you looking to work with young, aspiring content creators, maybe even one like yourself, of all different artistic types from all around the world? In that case, M Media has got your back. M Media works with any type of social media content you might need, from filming businesses, meetings, wedding photos, family photos, flyers, banners, music videos, podcasts, and video editing, you name it. M Media will take care of all of that for you, and you can just sit back and watch the magic happen. M Media also has content creators working around the clock, accompanying wherever you are with what time zone you are in. So there's absolutely no worry in experiencing an unbearable wait time over the phone for assistance, as well as being 100% in direct, honest contact with your marketer all the way through if anything happens or changes suddenly. Also, are you an aspiring media artist who is looking to get their work known or featured? Or possibly have dreams to work with other artists who share the same vision as yourself? M Media is also hiring creators of all ages to participate in the magic that happens behind the scenes. They take all kinds of artists, such as some I said before, working as well as being coached by experienced creators to help grow whatever craft you are interested in. By being involved with M Media, not only does it look great on a resume, but it is beneficial to those looking to work in New York City to get hired in those big-time arts companies that rule our social media marketing today. So, with that said, if you are one of those big city dreamers looking to get their work done or be part of an amazing marketing opportunity, visit www.mmedia.com to learn more about how you can get involved or how you can get those marketing needs done for your own individual use. You can visit www.mmedia, M as in MMEDIA.com to learn more about how you can get involved or how you can get those marketing needs done for your individual use. Now, let's get back to the episode.
Oh, man.
Okay, so the final version of the song, the OOs that we love so much, the New York OOs, they were done by Linda Hardim Allen and Debbie Doss, who are actually in the video. They're the ones going, oh, oh.
Yeah.
Just like that.
Just in the yeah.
So Horn wrote the song based off a sci-fi short story that I started reading. It's like 30 pages, so I didn't read the whole thing. But I just kind of skimmed the first 10 to get what it's about. It's called the Sound Suite, where a new type of music is invented called ultrasonic music that actually transcends all prior audible wavelengths and renders all previously human-made music uncool and irrelevant. So this guy has this thing called a sonovac that like vacuums up any human-made sound because people like start hating human noises so much that it's like outlawed. So they come around with vacuums that suck up sound, and they only have ultrasonic music, which is like basically like shit only dogs can hear. But like I guess somehow humans in the future in this story have like adapted to be able to hear these frequencies. So like they only play like ultrasonic music in the future.
That's so cool.
It's a crazy story, but basically the main character is this like opera singer who's like wildly depressed because she used to dream about like all the fame and fortune she had as an opera singer. People love to hear her perform, and now she's living in like a dystopian future where like what she does is considered like uncool and irrelevant. And it kind of dives into like that psyche of like having success and like fame and fortune and like falling off of that and like becoming irrelevant. It's a cool, but I think that ties into a lot and makes sense for why the song is like the like thematically what it is.
I think it's just incredible that there was so much creative kind of inspiration, and not just when I say creative inspiration, I say like creative inspiration in terms of like they really thought things through. That's what I'm trying to say.
The beautiful thing about like music especially is that it covers like themes that we all experience in our lifetime and like as a society, and I think there really is kind of like an ongoing fear like as you get older within your generation that the next generation's not gonna like carry the torch the same way, you know what I mean? And like there's that element of being scared of progression instead of embracing it because like we as humans cling to like what we know and that's what's comfortable. So like
Yeah.
Writing a song about that feeling, I think, was genius on their part. And I think any good song taps into like those universal themes of like things we can all relate to, even if like the minute detail of your song and your lyrics is like super personal. I think if you tap into that feeling, that's a feeling that everybody can relate to, and that's what makes songs so special. Not that I
Yeah,
need to tell you this because you get it too as like a songwriter, but
I agree. I agree completely. Um, yeah, I mean, like tying back to what we said about, Lady Gaga and my song Not From Here, like what I'm saying is that it's not, I think it's like not what you sing, it's kind of like the setting. I'm trying to make sense of it in my brain. Like it's not like exactly what you sing, like the words. I'm saying it's like kind of like the feeling, and then your surroundings really do kind of have a creative input as to what comes out and subconsciously too.
yeah,
And
definitely.
that's
Because
that, yeah,
usually, like,
exactly.
it differs and like your instrumentation differs. Like I thought about that the other day. A lot of like, say, like for example, like music from like Jamaica or like that, like the island region. You know what I mean? Like with like steel drums and like how you can literally hear like a region in the types of music that come from there. And I just think that's so cool, especially like to dive into like history, especially when you could take it even deeper and could take it into like theory stuff and you'd start like analyzing like what scales different cultures use and stuff and like intervals and like how all of that differs and like the way we all approach music differs so much between like regions.
Hmm.
But wild. That's why you see bands like the Beatles have such a like big influence, because they were the first kind of to bring that like musical influence over the pond of like their approach to music and like their choices that they make and like their cadences and all of that.
Yeah.
The choices that you make, like especially you can tell like geographically is one thing, but throughout time definitely too, like the sonic choices and like tendencies and like melodic patterns change and evolve. Like you've narrowed down your sound to something so very 80s sounding. It's because you hit these like specific markers, right, that signify like the sound of that time. I think a lot of modern music has that too. Like I think melodically it happens a lot lately, like with the way that people write and what's like popular, like the way that they sing like their top like their melodies and stuff, and how it's only like it drives me nuts. This is like my bone to pick with like modern music, but like how like melodically everybody likes to like stick to like 2 to 3 notes. So it's like how it's like da 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 da, like that repetitiveness, like those habits that we all have as artists within a time frame really
Hmm.
solidifies, I think, what the music of that time looks like.
Hmm. Yeah, exactly. Don't mind us. Don't mind us.
Need to stay properly hydrated.
I gotta stay properly hydrated, fed, in order for us to provide you with our awesome content.
Like she said. So Trevor Horn, the main guy, said he had read the sound sweep and promptly had visions of the future where record companies would have computers in the basement and manufacture artists, which sounds like some AI shit to me, which sounds like exactly what we're doing in the present day, and it's creepy that he just saw it coming 30 years ago.
Yeah. I mean,
Like I
there's
said,
a,
it's like one of those themes of like technological takeover is always at risk of
I mean, yeah, it's funny because even George Michael predicted a lot of the things that were going to happen.
creepy and Black
I,
Mirror.
I mean, like he predicted stuff that was going to happen in pop. Like, for example, it was all going to be, I don't know this for sure, but I saw it in a 80s documentary featuring like George Michael, Tina Turner, David Bowie, um, Pat Benatar.
I love her. I have a newfound appreciation for her.
Same. I love her. She's cool as hell. Anyway, where were we?
Shout out Pat.
Shout out Pat, Miss Bennett. Is she married? Mrs. Bennett? Mrs.
I
Benatar?
know
Okay.
more than their romantic relationships, but I digress. Oh wait, no. So he had said, Trevor Horn, said he had read the sound sweep and promptly had visions of the future where record companies would have computers in the basement and manufacture artists, which sounds really creepily familiar to what they're kind of doing today with like AI artists and stuff. It gives me the heebie-jeebies. I think it's the same reason why like the video gives me the heebie-jeebies is just because like dystopian robotics of the future are now dystopian robotics of the present.
I don't like that. I
It
don't
weirds
like
me
that
out.
at all. I don't like that at all. So, the lyrics of the song were actually rooted deeply in a similar kind of like nostalgic way. It was also referring to a period of technological change, as we said before about the sound sweep, um, kind of in those noise about the noise sound effects. Um, the change actually happened in the 1960s, and I guess it kind of just traveled over. Um, and usually the desire to remember the past and the disappointment that children of the current generation would not appreciate the past. It's kind of like that now because people are starting to bring back, like, for example, like the 70s sound, the 60s sound, all those sounds, 60s, 70s, 80s, even 90s. Um, and then with that kind of in hopes of bringing back that nostalgia. And it's kind of unfortunate because, again, you can't appreciate the past if you didn't really live it. It's like a kind of like a false sense of remembrance. Like I was like, try to say, like, you might feel the vibes, but you don't know the vibes because you didn't feel the vibes in that exact
Right
moment.
there.
Like, if you weren't there, you didn't experience. Like, if you weren't there, like, you didn't experience it.
I mean, I bet that's true because, like, maybe the reality of, like, say, the 80s, for example, like, us talking about it as members of a culture that came, or, like, a generation that came after it, we have a certain viewpoint of what the 80s looked like, but I think that reality in their present day to day for the people alive during then might have looked different, or they didn't look at it the same way as we
Yeah.
do now, in
Mhm.
retrospect.
Mhm. Mhm.
Which makes me
I
just
agree.
wonder how people are gonna look back on these times and
Yeah.
wonder what pop culturally is gonna stick for
Yeah.
us.
I mean, I already think I know what's gonna pop culturally stick. Yeah, a little bit about the video, right?
Yes.
All right. So as we talked about before about the video, kind of, and I felt like it was very unsettling. Like for some reason, I just find it really unsettling. I don't know what it is. Like I love the song, but I just think it's just really, really unsettling and just feeling so displaced. I don't know why, but and maybe because it was technologically a little bit advanced for its time.
Mhm.
It felt just very lucid. That is the word lucid
Lucid.
dreamish.
That's a
Yeah,
good way of describing it.
lucid is the way is the way perfect way to describe it. So,
See, because I came across where I like came to like my one word conclusion about the video earlier, and it was like dystopian was my one like
alien dystopian, yeah.
thought.
The
Yeah,
word the word you said in specific was alien,
yeah,
which
that is
would
how.
kind of hit it dead on. The Obviously it was the first music video to premiere on MTV. Um, but the in my brain. The television station credited with the pioneering of entirely writing entirely a new era of music consumption. The video was actually written and directed, and edited. I can't speak and edited by Australian director Russell. How do you say that?
Mulcahy.
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 Yeah.
I'm Aussies, man. It was actually which funny enough, it was actually produced with a $50,000 budget, and the first time
50,000.
50,000
50,000
$50,000 budget.
in 80s time.
The video actually starts out with a young girl sitting in front of a radio, which is funny because I can see where a lot of my briea stuff comes from when the radio. Um, so it was actually a black and white shot of Trevor Horn singing to an early radio era microphone, and it's superimposed over the young girl by the radio. So it was kind of bringing back that new and that old. He was kind of bringing that new and that old feeling together, which I also feel like creates that sense of lucid feeling. Because in my opinion, it's like in that limbo, not that limbo, but you're in the middle. It's either you're high or very low, but you're right in the middle there. Um,
Yeah. Because
so
especially the music video does go through all of those different time periods, like her listening to that like old school radio and then like them going on the TV and then like the radio blowing up and stuff. Like I think it's very time travel-y. It adds to the creepy feel of it.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, with the kind of what you said about the radio quote blowing up in the video, um, you said, or it transports the girl to the future, which I also feel like is a great thematic and symbolism into being kind of the evolution of MTV, like what we covered in our in our first episode where we said about the astronaut and how I said the astronaut's kind of the symbolism for the sky is the limit, which I think that explosion kind of ties in really well with that. And that kind of explosion of a new era kind of in the young girl's face, and especially because she's so young or just young,
Yeah, seriously.
and it's kind of exploding in her face and she doesn't know what to do with herself.
It's
And then
also
she's transported.
subliminal. Kind of creepy.
What'd you say?
It's so subliminal. It's kind of creepy. Like they really thought through all of this on like a really deep scale. Like I'm sure people didn't really think anything of it. They're like, oh yeah, whatever, that's the first one. But then you're like,
They really did. And it's like really like scarily surprising. It's scarily surprising.
mhm. Yeah, the second video that they played actually was "You Better Run" by Queen Pat Benatar, and that was like also super heavily loaded with symbolism too, because they were trying to send like a message to the record labels that there's like a new gatekeeper in town, kind of, and that they were coming around to like reinvent the way that people were consuming music and their approach to it, kind of. So like they came in guns a blazing. It was very subtle, but you got to give MTV props for like I don't know, just in retrospect, that's just like such a cool thing to think about how they had this vision from the get-go and they really
Mhm.
adhered to it in like every single aspect, like down to what music videos they played and like
Yeah. Yeah.
but I don't think they knew while they were doing it just like the cultural impact that it would go on to have, you know what I mean? Like I think they're very intentional, but I don't think that like I think things progressed past their initial intentions.
Yeah. I agree. And especially on like a $50,000 budget as for this one.
Mm.
So after the explosion, the young girl actually meets Horn himself and a silver jumpsuited woman in a clear plastic tube. Um, the tube actually falls over in one point of just overview. The tube actually falls over in one point of video, although they claim that they never meant for that to make the final edit. So again, mistakes. Creative. What's it? It was Bob Ross quote. Um, happy little accidents.
Yes.
Um, so Hans Zimmer actually makes a cameo in the video, which I think is I
Not the blonde guy, but the other guy playing piano. He's got like a black t-shirt on, I think.
Hans Zimmer, my boy, which I think is so like revolutionary because Hans Zimmer, I have such a love for Hans Zimmer, and he, as we talk about kind of the music of the evolution in music and evolution and that and symbolism, Hans Zimmer is probably behind some of the greatest musical compositions in movie history. Like for example, Hans Zimmer did an excellent remake of Blue Monday,
Hmm.
and it made it into the Wonder Woman 1987, Wonder Woman 1984, which is one of
Huh.
my favorite movies. So yeah, no, I was talking about Hans Zimmer. I think is really funny that he made a cameo in that video because he was such a cultural kind of, I'm gonna say, Hans Zimmer is one of my favorite musical composers in terms of what he does and really captures the musical essence of today's very, very, very popular movies. And
He's like the Beyonce of the film score world.
he is, and I just find that so weird that he makes a cameo.
I know, this was before he like did all of his big things too, like before like
It's just so like odd
how appropriate though, right? Ultimately.
because we're talking about how this video literally kind of shot a rocket into no pun intended with the astronaut kind of shot. So in addition to the first video MTV aired, they actually rebroadcasted it in February of 2000 as the actual 1 millionth video aired on the channel, as actually a tribute to show how far the channel or the music channel has gotten and gotten as a whole, kind of just all together. The originally nobody wanted the first ever broadcast to kick off with this video, but MTV executives felt it was very symbolic, as it is, in my opinion. I think you agree too, of what they were trying to aim to do with this channel, and they hit it pretty much dead in the bullseye. The second video they aired, which was as we talk about Pat Benatar, You Better Run, love that video, was actually also heavily loaded with symbolism, which I think we're going to get to in the next episode, which I can't wait to do because I love.
She's on this season. We're doing that video.
Yeah, of course. I'm not going to leave out Miss Pat Benatar. She's a queen. She's a rock star.
Disrespect.
So they actually wanted to send a message to the record labels that the new music that they were, to the new music gatekeeper, so as you said, so to speak, to come around to kind of reinvent the way society viewed and consumed music. Rightfully so. Again, hit it pretty much dead on the bullseye.
They did just that. They did what they set out to do, and even with all the subliminal messaging, adds to the air of mystery of like the enigma that it became.
Odd. Like it's so good, but so odd. Like it's just like future prediction.
It's creepy.
It's like future prediction. It's like you know what? I'm not gonna. The amount of times I have to reference Dua Lipa in this video.
I was gonna say the BTB drinking game is how many times Briea mentions Dua Lipa.
Can you count how many times Briea mentions Dua Lipa? Take a shot every single time I mention Dua Lipa. You'll be drunk in a minute. It's like cue shots by Lil Jon. But
shots. Note to Briea on post. We need some Lil Jon right now. Just need
future me, add Lil Jon. Add Lil Jon. I'm gonna.
Yeah! I can't wait to get to the 90s Y2K episodes.
Yeah! What? It's like that song he was on. He's like, what? Yeah! He's on that song called Patron Tequila by the Paradiso Girls.
I forgot about that song. I need that on my throwback playlist. Patron Tequila, me and my mamacitas.
It's like, I'm on Patron, tequila, I'm drunk on margarita, on Patron, tequila, me and my mamacita, I'm the girl, on tonight, hey girl, and then there's Lil Jon in the back going, I'm not really drunk.
I don't remember that part, but I'm not
there. He doesn't have a verse, he's just there. What was I saying?
Oh, we're going to talk about public reception for the video and song next. Surprisingly, even though this was the 80s and shit was cray, the band actually still ended up receiving a lot of criticism for the video being too violent because they blew up the radio in the beginning. Like, I think just by today's standards, that's like hardly graphic, but I guess back in the day that was shocking.
That's like calling Power Rangers graphic, if you really...
I mean, that is promoting violence from a very young age while we're sitting here talking about subliminal messaging. Oh, you know what though? But the song actually, in a modern context, did end up going viral on TikTok. So like there is still new generations discovering it.
Yeah, you're right. Because there's a trending sound that goes, oh. Well, it's the song. That's a song that is mostly kind of targeted towards like the 80s trend. Like, for example, well, it's alongside there with Cyndi Lauper. Oh my God.
Tears for Fears?
Everybody Wants to Rule the World.
Oh, that's not Tears for Fears. That's the other band that I was confused with Tears for Fears.
No, it's Tears for Fears.
Okay. I love music, can sing along to any of these songs, but if you'd ask me who sings them, I never remember.
Yeah. I think it's like that for a lot of people, but it's like alongside those, kind of those trending 80s sounds.
The songs that will never die, that will live forever.
Nope, they're never ever gonna die.
You know what song is criminally underrated though from like that time period? Is Tell It to My Heart by Taylor Dayne. I still think that's like the most popular pop song, or like perfect pop song to exist. It's like my favorite song from the 80s by far, hands down.
Yes! Oh my God, Taylor Dayne! I love her so much! Queen. Oh my God, I love her so much. And I think that the song has like more, or we've made it more kind of modern, as we say, as we kind of talked about it in the kind of trending now on TikTok as one of those songs that are, what's the word I'm looking for? The songs that will kind of not only push your content, but it will kind of give you that 80s throwback. And by putting it on TikTok and repeating it over and over again as a trending sound, it's giving it that modern kind of that new feel. Well, for example, those people that are not really into it, you just hear it over and over, and like you said, it's one of those classics that just don't die. So, in veering criticism of the ever-changing music business and business landscape is still an attitude, musicians of the current day and age still seem to echo with their distaste to having to produce content. But as Madonna once pointed out to some rock and roller, I think I've seen this.
You know what I'm talking about? Where
I
it's
think I
like
do.
they're talking about how they don't want to be on MTV and they don't want to have to make music videos, and Madonna being Madonna is just like, well, either like you get with it or you don't. I remember who she was talking to because I scoured the internet for this interview and I could not find it, but I know I saw the like snippet of it and they're like at like a press conference or something and they're talking about music videos and she just basically pointed out you could either like get with the times or you fall behind them is what
Get with the time or fall behind. Yeah, it was like that or something.
basically. Yeah, I think we covered everything in relation to like the longevity this video and song has and how symbolically it really tied in with everything MTV was doing. And I think it was a really good place for us to start off as the first episode because I think the 80s, like I said, everybody was in the same mind frame of like wanting to push the envelope, so to speak.
Yeah.
And it's just creepy how he's so spot on, especially when you think of like what they're doing now with like AI and stuff. It's creepy to think because like on one hand, the video itself feels dated, but the ethos behind it hasn't faded at all, and it's become ever more increasingly accurate.
Perfect way to describe it.
'Cause
Perfect way to describe it. I pretty much have no more thoughts on it. I think it was
I
just
emptied
great.
out my thought bank.
So did I. So, I guess this concludes this week's episode of BTB. We have our first episode. We talked about the origins of MTV. Please make sure to check that out if you haven't already. I'll link it somewhere in this video, wherever.
Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel for more of our brainstorms about music and all things related to it since we like to go on lots of tangents, but it all ties into the same thematic like themes of what we talk about with all of like especially with this episode, like with the tangents, it all tied into this idea of like what it means to be an artist and to survive the waves of incoming change. And
Yeah,
there's
exactly.
a lot of videos actually on this list. I'm looking at it of episodes
Yeah.
we're gonna cover on this season of like that really just changed the game when it came to music and music videos.
So this concludes this week's episode of BTB Behind the Broadcast.
And Briea shows up next week with a haircut and a pixie cut. We all know why.
Because of Pat Benatar.
Because this week we're covering You Better Run with Pat Benatar.
And I've embodied Pat Benatar. I just show up as Pat Benatar.
I mean, I'll just call you Pat the whole episode. It'll be
no,
fine.
Pat. I'll just be Pat. So yeah, yeah. I think that's pretty much what we all have for today's episode. Like I said, next week. Yeah, next week we're gonna be covering You Better Run by Pat Benatar. And then the list just goes on, which we're really happy to share with you guys in the upcoming season. So thank you guys for watching this week's episode. We'll see you next week. My name is Briea.
I'm Chisa.
All right, thank you guys for watching. We'll see you next week. Love you guys.